The Comedy Store would like you to know that the views and opinions expressed on this podcast are strictly those of the speakers or authors and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by the Comedy Store and its affiliates.
I'm sorry about my hair. Does it look like an 80s...
It looks great.
Looks like I'm in a Janet Jackson video or something.
Yeah, you look
I
like,
apologize. I just let it
what's
dry.
What's the girl in Flashdance?
Oh, wow.
Beale.
Really?
Jennifer Beale.
Jennifer Beale.
You know, whatever.
Dude.
What a feeling.
I'm going to take it. I know it's a lot, but I like it. I'll take it. Yeah.
Take it. Are we on? Are we live?
We're on.
Oh, so what I was saying was...
Wait. I want to say welcome to the Comedy Store podcast.
You.
We took a break for a little bit because Rick was on the road and stuff, and so it was just hard. Then I was on the road, so I apologize. But we're back, and then Rick isn't here tonight. He's got kids. I told him not to bucking. I told him to pull out. He don't listen. So
they bring problems.
Problems. So now we're here and we got the great Maz Jobrani, and I'm excited because you've been on the podcast before and it's literally one of my favorites.
I have. Listen, by the way, I feel like I could like guest host whenever I could
100%.
be. You know how Johnny Carson wouldn't be there? I could be Rick's.
If you want.
The version of like Gary Shandling would host. I'll be the Gary Shandling to his Johnny Carson.
I have had, like, while he was on tour, if I was in town, I've had multiple.
Hello.
I didn't know you would be interested.
What I was about to tell you. What I was about to tell you was, it's funny because we all see each other.
Yeah.
Comedians. First of all, we see each other in passing and we hang out. We have great conversations.
Sure. We don't. Yeah.
But then you realize how little. Because you were just telling me that Rick's got kids. I go, Rick's got kids. I was like, I thought Rick is a kid.
Yeah.
To me, he's still young.
You still see him
as like 24.
We're all still in the same mindset we were when we met. Maybe even younger for some of it. I know I'm a toddler.
Absolutely no.
Definitely nothing.
Absolutely, and then you realize that, and then you said, "Oh, he's married to an Israeli woman." I go, "What?" Like,
oh yeah, Corinne's amazing.
Rick from Kansas, and then it's just it's so. But I love it. But here's what's interesting is because there's Dan Adut. You know Dan? Mm-hmm. Dan is a comedian. He doesn't do the store as much. Very funny.
But we work the improv together a lot.
Yeah,
I've
very
worked
funny.
with him a bunch.
So he is a fellow Iranian-American comedian. He's younger. I remember the day I was doing some event, and Dan came up to me, and he was in, I think he was in like Johns Hopkins, going to be going to medical school.
Oh, wow.
He said, my parents want me to go to medical school, but I want to be a comedian. What should I do? I said, listen, you're living in New York, go to New York. Get a job at like internship at Comedy Central. Just go so your parents think you're working, and then find your way in. Anyway,
did he finish medical school?
No, he didn't. He didn't even go to medical. I think he finished his undergrad and then went
okay.
up.
I was going to say,
but he just wrote a book, and I was reading his book, and I realized how little I knew about him, and I was like, why is it? Am I just like
because you ruined his life by
because I think that we all get together and we tell our stories,
right?
And then some stick and some don't.
Yeah.
You know?
Because he did move to New York.
Yeah, he moved.
And he did exactly what you told him. Or?
He did all that, but then I found out in this book that he's a big foodie. He cooks. He's gone hunting. I found a lot of stuff about. Like, you should write a book so I can learn about you.
Oh, I'll write a book.
I mean,
You'll read it.
I would read if Eleanor wrote a book. I would read it.
So many people have told me to write a book.
You really should.
The ridiculous chapters in my life, like just the other day I was on with kids I grew up with. I say kids, meanwhile they're elderly like us. But we're
not elderly. We're
older.
older.
Know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
We're
Mature.
But we're still idiots.
Yeah.
So the three of us, he married this girl. We all just stayed really close.
Yeah.
And they live in Florida now. And we were telling stories. And I mean... he goes, I want to do a podcast and talk about this. I go, do you understand how incriminating two of the stories that you just told off the top?
Yeah.
Two of them.
Yeah.
I still got family that lives there. We can't. None of
those. No, there's a
those.
lot. You got to check some of it.
He goes, you got to understand. What if we do that thing where it's like, I go.
A podcast?
No, like a Patreon.
Oh,
where
Patreon,
they have to pay. I go,
pay.
Oh, you think they're not going to get somebody? Hey, what is he talking about over
it's
there?
It's still illegal, even if they're paying to listen to you. No, that's why the book is great, because I think you've had such great experience. I was just thinking about, like, once in a while when I see you, I go, hey, Eleanor, like Eleanor, right?
Yeah.
And I remember it was Barry Diamond who used to, when you were waiting at the...
I always talk about this. I aged in his act.
Yes.
That's terrifying. He used to go, Eleanor, like I'd walk by in the main room and he'd go, Eleanor, that's my wife, Eleanor. 14 years old, God bless her. And he goes, but she got the body of an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Then I became 17-year-old with the body of a 20-year-old. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I have to quit.
Yeah.
I've aged in Barry's act.
He
did it on the road, by the way, people told me.
Oh, really?
I love that.
But wait, wouldn't you have to be in the audience for
no,
him
he
to
used
do?
any waitress.
Oh, okay.
He just liked the name. He
Eleanor.
just liked saying the name.
That's hilarious.
But I always got more tips because they were like, that's kind of rude what he said.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's good. It's I started in the late 90s here, and we saw, I'm just thinking about it. We saw I think in the end, everyone's nice and they got a good heart, but we saw a lot of craziness.
Wait a minute, you really believe that? I'm kidding.
No, I mean,
like specifically who?
No, I'm saying if you're a comedian, I think ultimately when you're a comedian, sure, you want attention and all that stuff, but you also are trying to make people laugh. I mean, if you really psychoanalyze this whole thing, it's not like you're saying, oh, I want to, like let's say, for example, let's just take extreme examples here. Like,
I know you're gonna go.
No, you don't know where I'm gonna go.
Oh,
I'm saying let's say you take, for example, the Iceman, right? The guy who was the killer.
The Iceman Cometh.
The Iceman Cometh. The guy who was the killer
Which would kind of be like the podcast I was talking about a couple of minutes ago.
Exactly, yeah. You don't really. But he was. If you saw the documentary on HBO, they had him talking about how he was a mob killer.
Yeah. And
he took pleasure in killing these people who go tie them up and then sometimes like have the rats basically eat them.
Yeah.
So you have someone like that who wants to bring pain to people. And then most comedians ultimately...
Was he trying to bring pain to them or just get some information?
No, it was they said kill the person. Right. And it was like, I'll kill you by
slowly.
rat bite.
Like, watch this. And he's just eating a big sandwich.
So
like
he's on the far scale of like wanting to hurt people.
Yeah.
Versus most comedians, I think, ultimately want people to laugh.
Yeah, even if they're saying something crazy, you're saying. Like, even if they're saying something so insanely horrific, where you're like, oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not saying that comedians are put together.
I thought you were going to bring up Holtzman. And I was like, that's a great example.
Well, Holtzman is
the biggest heart there is.
Biggest heart.
The nicest guy.
Yeah.
And literally like donates. People tell me all the time that like, Holtzman sent me money, or Holtzman sent me a gift for the baby. Yeah. Like, and if people, I think people just do know that, but then he goes on stage and says the wildest shit.
Well, Brian Holtzman is...
Because it's what makes him laugh.
Yeah, I love Brian. And like, I lost my sister to breast cancer, but she was a documentary filmmaker.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, you got to see this guy, because she was looking for her next subject. I go, you got to see Brian. I go, there's a great documentary here, because at the time, I don't know what he's doing now, but at the time, he was a comedian here who we all believe in the comedians' minds is a genius of sorts. Mm-hmm. And then during the day, I think he was working as like a meter maid or something in Manhattan Beach.
Sure.
And I said, this is a great documentary.
Million jobs. So he also worked for the airlines for years.
Yeah, for the airlines. So she came and she followed him a little bit, and then he just took a liking to my sister. He was so nice to her. And then actually, when my sister passed away, I asked him to come, and he spoke. And it was so touching to just have him, because I also saw him speak. Remember when Freddie Soto passed away? Yeah. That was one of the best. Like, he's always friends. But he always like knocks it out when it's time to honor somebody.
We do have a joke about that with Holtzman.
Yeah.
He's what is he now? We didn't know your sisters, but we'll add that.
Yeah.
Because he's 3-1. He bombed at 1.
Oh, that's funny.
Brody's.
Yeah.
Bombed at Brody's.
Oh, did he? I didn't see Brody's.
It was brutal, but it was awesome.
Oh gosh.
But they got the same time slots.
Yeah.
They didn't know each other that well.
Yeah.
Talk about in passing. You would think, what? You don't know Brody?
Yeah.
Brian had real jobs.
Yeah.
Like Brian has 2 pensions.
Yeah.
We're the idiots.
I know.
Brian is taken care of. He's fine.
Yeah.
So he didn't hang out like we did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of my favorite jokes Holtzman used to do when I first started, I was like in the 90s, he would shake his pants and it would be like a lot of like metal you'd hear. And he'd go, those are nuts and bolts I took from the plane. Good luck. Just so stupid. Because that's what he did.
Yeah.
He fixed airplanes.
Yeah.
And he'd be up all night.
Yeah.
Doing comedy, drink, whatever, and then go to work. And I'd see him on an early flight and I'd be like, oh no.
That's hilarious. I got the nuts and bolts. Well, that's why he's such a great guy. He's traveled the world as well. And he's very open-minded about the world.
Yeah, but when he spoke at Brody's, he didn't know much.
Oh.
And so he goes, hey, we get the same time slot, so I'm kind of, I'm going to get more spots.
Hilarious.
It was so funny, but awful at the same time.
Yeah.
But like we were laughing, but it didn't go over well. Like Mitzi's was incredible.
Yeah.
Jeff Scott's.
Yeah.
Now your sister.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I just remember
ago, by
my
the way,
sister was 2017, August 13th of 2017. It was right when it was crazy. Like I had a Netflix special coming out and I was doing press for it at the same time that my sister was in the hospital with cancer, was just passing away.
Wow.
And it was just the craziest. It was just a crazy. It was like, because she'd been diagnosed in 2010 and with breast cancer, and her name's Miriam. And when you have a loved one get cancer, you go, we're going to beat it.
Absolutely.
And in your mind, you're like, oh yeah, we do this, double mastectomy, do the the chemo, all this, we're going to beat it. And then at first, it seemed like we had it, and then like 2013 or so, her doctor said, it's spread to your liver. And then again, she said, you only have a couple years to live. Then we went and saw this other doctor, and the other doctor goes, who am I to tell you how long you have to live? He goes, people have had what you have, and they've lived 20 years.
Yeah.
So he goes, I don't know. So we really were like, we're into that. We're going to lean into that. And then she was changing her diet, and she was trying all kinds of alternative stuff, and her numbers were going down. It was looking good. And then I would say in like early 2017, she was like, I got some stomach pain, and we're always worried, but we're like, your numbers are still low. Yeah, they are. I'm going to get it checked. And then she would just her energy was getting a little less and less. And then I just remember it was basically like we had gone with my family, with my wife and kids, to go to Spain for just a couple weeks. And we came back and it was
just a couple weeks.
Well, it was summer.
That's all right.
And
country dropper.
Yeah. And we came back. It was like 3rd of July, and I found out that they basically said that it had spread, and by from the 3rd to the 13th of August, then she was gone. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she was like the closest person to me in my life. So that was really hard.
Yeah.
And I've also lost a brother.
Are you guys close in age?
She was 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
And my brother that I lost was 5 years younger than me, and we lost him to addiction. So people ask me all the time. It's interesting because I've had people now in the comedy world that'll lose a loved one, and they'll reach out to me. They'll be like, "How'd you deal with it?" And I go, "Be honest with you. Like, when you lose a loved one, you're hoping there's somebody who's wise, who's going to be like, this is what the answer is." And you go, oh, great. But really, the only real answer that could work is if you said, oh, I brought them back. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't. I'm saying, like, if somebody could be like, oh, here they are. They never died. Here you go.
Oh,
they're back.
right. You scared? I was like, oh my God, you could do that? Like,
no. I wish.
Lost a sister too.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then my best friend, she lost her little sister. So it's like a whole. Yeah. Like it's been a weird. Yeah. So it is hard because it's literally like today. She kind of like when we were talking, and I was like, "How are you?" And then as I sent it, I thought, "Oh no, I know how she is.
Yeah.
I don't. Why did I ask that question?"
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, because my sister passed. It's 2009.
Yeah.
August.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? My mom. She says, "Oh, honey, all the tragedies in our family happen in August.
Oh, wow.
August is the worst month." And I go, "Mom, I was born in August." "Oh, I'm sorry, honey."
It's tragic.
What an asshole.
Yeah. You're trying to break
a couple other kids, nieces, nephews, chill out on the August
the
is
August
the worst.
thing. Yeah, it's going to be a bad month.
Yeah. Every
My
time.
birthday, Mom.
But every time.
Yeah.
Even like after Freddie passed, my grandma died 20 days later. Freddie was July 10th, 2005, and my grandma was the 30th. So I was like, oh my God. And my mom goes, at least she didn't do August. And I was like, oh my God.
Your mom hates August.
And me.
And you. What a bad month.
It just always makes me giggle. I'm like, Mom. Yeah, but it was, it is strange.
You bond. It's interesting. Like,
I don't know how to deal with it, or like, even like to say something to my friend today. I didn't know what to say.
You know what I just try to do? I go, listen, I'm here for you if you ever need someone to talk
Same.
to, and just, it's going to take time, and it never goes away. It just, you, hopefully people have said this, and I think there's truth to it. Some of the memories that were always like of those last days will then some other memories will come in that'll make you smile. Like I had one of those today. I forget what happened, but I was like, "Oh, my sister Marion would have loved that." But I actually, I was at Mitzi's funeral. Mm-hmm. It was interesting.
Funeral, so you went up.
Yeah, it was very interesting to me because I got a message at the time from Paulie, and he's like, "Don't tell him, it's just you come up." And I was like,
it was very private.
It was very private.
Very nice.
It was very. There weren't that many people, and I was really touched by that. And I was, and then I ended up talking to Bob Saget, who also lost 2 siblings. And I was like, and I felt immediately connected to the guy. You know, when you run into other people that have lost siblings, you go, oh, we have a connection.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a club you want to be a part of, but, you know, you do get some comfort in knowing that you're not alone.
Right.
You know?
Right. There's something there. Yeah. Now, you should do a documentary on your sister.
Well, my sister did do a documentary.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She did a documentary. It was called Everything Must Change. And her partner at the time, Kenny Krause, they made a film about her journey. And it's a beautiful film.
Okay.
It's called Everything Must Change. If people want to watch it, it's on Amazon. And it's all about her story.
I'm going to put it on our list because I started a new podcast where we review documentaries called What's Up, Doc. So I'd love to watch it. Yeah.
Definitely watch it. Tell me what you think, because I thought they did a great job and it was very touching to me. And matter of fact, I just shot a special here at the store.
Yes.
And there's
Which is what we're supposed to be talking about.
We're supposed to be talking about
but
that.
We took
Yeah. But at the end of the special, there's a clip of me in 2000, I think.
Okay.
Right by the circle sign in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And my sister at that time had started to do a documentary on me. Oh. So she's interviewing me back then. It was interesting because Kenny got me this footage. And it was interesting because in the special, hopefully people watch it. It's on YouTube. It's called The Birds and the Bees.
Another one we'll watch.
Yeah, but the special, it's filmed in the main room, and I'm doing crowd work, and it's packed, and it's the show, and I tell the story, becoming a regular here, all that stuff.
You do the whole story, what Mitzi made you do?
Yes.
Yeah,
and
or wanted you to do.
Wanted me to do. And then at the end, if you stay to watch the end, as the credits are rolling, it's me telling my sister, I'm telling her about wanting to be seen by somebody at the Aspen Comedy Festival so that I can get some things going. And then I say, well, come in there. They're not going to let you film because it's not that full. And I might have to do crowd work and it's not going to go anywhere. It basically is interesting because it's like I've just kind of done in the special what I end up talking about in this footage from 20 years ago. It's pretty interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. So
foreshadowing it was.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I know you've told it a million times, but would you tell the story again of what Mitzi, just in case people...
Yeah, so again, I'll tell one of the reasons I wanted to...
Because what year was it when you got passed?
I got passed I believe it was in 99, and believe it or not, I don't know the exact date because...
That's crazy.
I should know.
How about the month? No?
No, I know that it was sometime, I think it was like mid-99 or so, because I started doing stand-up comedy summer of 98.
Right.
And then I remember I met my now wife, who was then my girlfriend, in February of 99. I wasn't a regular yet.
Got it.
Because I was still doing the bringers.
Yeah.
And back then, the biggest bringer that I would do was Skippy Lowe and Belinda Foster in the Belly Room.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That's
it was the craziest show.
Hello, Mary. Sit down.
So for people that don't know, Skippy Lowe had a cable access show.
Betty Grable Legs.
Betty Grable Legs. And Skippy Lowe, the name, like he was a he, and he had white hair that came like it was.
He did identify as a he, huh?
He was a he.
He would wear skirts. I know, but I'm just saying, like,
well, but,
you don't think about it.
But he had the hair. He had like the hair that came to here, white hair, right? And it was kind of bowl, almost like a bowl thing. And then he would wear a dark, like a black, like turtleneck or something, and he kind of had boobs.
Yeah.
Like he had like his,
well,
like
he would be considered
boobs.
A cross-dresser back then.
Well, no, the problem was the first time I got booked to do Skippy Lowe's, and the people that don't know bringers, I'm sure you guys have talked about this, but a bringer show is where the booker books you, says you, open mic comedian, need to bring 4 or 5 people with you.
You're not funny enough, we're not paying you, and you need to bring people to pay to get in.
Because also no one's going to come see a bunch of open micers, right? So you have to, everyone's got to bring 5 people. So they told me, Skippy Lowe show. So I come walking through that opening, like by the
Didn't
bar.
Didn't he have Saturday nights? He have Saturday or Friday?
That's what I'm saying. It was Saturday night, Belly Room. I'm coming walking through the front.
Yeah, Rachel was Friday.
And he's sitting there, and I'm like... And I go, yeah, I'm for the Skippy Lowe show, and I wasn't sure because Skippy Lowe could be Skippy Lowe could be, but no, Skippy Lowe could be a woman, and I don't know,
sure,
or it could be a guy, and then he's like, I'm Skippy.
It's Pat.
Yeah, and it's very Pat.
Yeah.
And his voice was very much like,
hello, Mary.
Yeah. So even then I was like, I don't know who I was with. I was like, is he a girl or a guy? I can't tell. So then
And he would sometimes wear skirts and heels. He had a billboard with stockings, skirt, heels, and a suit jacket. And it was the Skippy Low with Betty Grable legs.
Dude, and the fact that they would give them the belly room on a Saturday night meant that the main room and the original room were going to have some big performers. Like I remember one night I was performing. This is early on in my career, and I thought, "Oh my God, I've made it."
In
I was in the belly room.
Iffy, but yeah.
Well, no, that's funny.
Oh.
I was in the belly room, and we had George Carlin was doing a little thing in the main room.
We just talked about that.
And
he
Dice
did 7 nights.
And Dice was in the original room.
Oh.
And in my head, I'm like, Andrew Dice Clay, who I grew up watching, and George Carlin are on the other stages while I'm on this stage. I was like, that's it. I'm in. I've made it.
This is a trifecta.
This is
amazing.
Trifecta. And then me. But yeah, so Skippy Low, I remember, I think I've told you this before. He would do a thing where he would get drunker and drunker as the night went on.
Yeah.
And Belinda Foster,
She
African
never
American,
drank, but she may or may not have had children in those vans.
We don't know. She was
She
was very religious. But Skippy, it was Skippy's show. Belinda would run it for him.
Yeah.
And she would help book.
Mm-hmm.
But it was funny because you'd be booked on there and you'd bring like whatever. I'd bring 10 people, 15 people.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, here's the lineup. You're up fourth. And you'd be there, and then Skippy would walk up to Belinda and be like, put this one on. And then she'd be like, oh, okay. And then she'd put the next person on. And then put this one. So that you just keep getting bumped. And then I'd be like, Belinda, I have 10 people. And she's like, I know. It's okay. I'm going to get you on.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
And she was so nervous.
Positive. Good
yeah,
stuff.
she was so
She was so sweet.
And Skippy was like getting drunker and drunker. And then it got to a point where I remember Skippy would be like, because if somebody were on stage bombing, there's a bunch of open micers.
Yeah.
He'd go to Belinda, get him off stage. And then she'd be like, he just got up. He's only done 2 minutes. And then he would walk up a couple times. I saw him walk up and grab the mic and be like, keep it going for this one. All right, Mary.
Wasn't he great? Anyway.
So
what did I say was next? Like he was great. He would drink, right?
Oh yeah,
he definitely had the drinking.
Wine and get drunk. So that was me. That was my initiation into the Comedy Store. Then it got to a point where back then you had to get somebody to recommend you.
Yeah.
So I had taken a class with Mike Marino. He was teaching a stand-up comedy class.
He was teaching stand-up?
He was teaching. I think Mike's always hustling. So
of course.
So I said, Mike, would you recommend me? I don't know if you're ready. And I go, come on, Mike, please. Okay, fine. So then he recommended me. And so I tell the story in the special about how back then you had to do 3 minutes in the original room on an open mic night, Sunday night. And if she liked you, she'd get word back for you to come back and do 6.
Sure.
So a couple weeks later, you come back, you do 6. She liked you, you made it to round 3, and come back and do, I think it was 10 actually.
9 or 10,
whatever it was.
I forget.
So then I moved up, got to the 10, and then at the 10, you're on stage in the original room, and anyone who's been here at the Comedy Store knows the original room is just dark. And then Mitzi is sitting in the back.
In more ways than one.
Yes, many ways. Mitzi's sitting in the back by the exit sign in her chair. And you're walking off the stage, and you have about 20 feet until you hit past Mitzi. If she lets you go by, see you later.
Bye.
See you. Get out of here. She's not gonna talk to you. If she'll look the other way, go work. It's gonna take a year or 2 to be seen again. But if she grabs your arm, you can be made a regular.
Yeah.
So me being Iranian American, I was up there talking about whatever, being growing up Iranian in America, a couple of jokes, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'm walking past. I'm like, please, Mitzi, please grab my arm, please.
So you knew about the grab arm?
I knew.
Somebody told. Okay.
They said if she grabs your arm, you're in. If not, then see you later.
Sorry. Yeah.
So I'm walking by, and then she grabs my arm, and I had all these flashes on her because, I was an Eddie Murphy fan. Eddie Murphy had performed here.
Right.
I'm thinking to myself, this is it. I'm going to be on Saturday Night Live in a week. I'm going to get my own TV show.
You're
and
seeing
probably
it.
The whole thing.
Seeing it all happen.
I had my Oscar award. I was like,
the movie in your mind.
The whole thing. I was like, this is it. And she goes, you're very funny. I go, thank you, Mitzi. I'm going to make you a regular. Thank you, Mitzi. Have you thought about wearing the outfit? I go, what outfit? She goes, the hat and the gown. I go, hat and gown? She goes, the hat and the gown. And she's making a circular hat. The circular hat.
Hat.
Yeah.
Maz, the hat.
The hat, which means a turban.
Meanwhile, somebody's on stage bombing. And you're like, get the turban.
Get the turban. And I looked at her. I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. And I mean, what am I? I'm not going to say right then and there. I'm not going to be.
I know.
So I was like, sure. And she goes, great. Corey, I'll call you Monday to get your spots. Great. And now I walk into the hallway, and I'm like, holy shit, what did I just agree to do? I'm going to dress up as a terrorist on stage?
Wow, they say you have to sell your soul, but I didn't know it was immediate.
I thought it was
after 3 minutes.
Yeah, I know. After my first foray. And then I started looking for an out. And then I thought, first because she was older then, I thought, okay, maybe by the time Corey calls me, which by the way was a day later, because Sunday night was when you did
absolutely.
So Monday,
yeah, she switched it to Sunday because it was originally Monday when she opened. Monday night football happened. It took away the business, so she moved to Sunday.
Okay, that's smart.
But it was Monday night football was so new.
Yeah.
Now they just play it in the front bar and people run in and out.
Yeah, nobody cares. But yeah, so she made me a regular on a Sunday, and I thought maybe by Monday when I get the call, I thought maybe she will have forgotten. Because that's how stupid I was. So then Corey called me, Princess Corey, and she knew me from around the club. And, hey, Maz, congratulations. Mitzi told me you're a regular. I go, yes, I am. She goes, and she told me you're going to wear the outfit. I was like, oh, God.
Oh, sugar, I'm so excited for you. You're going to wear the outfit? I'll bring my outfit, too. I'm a princess.
I said, Corey, what happens if I don't wear the outfit? She goes, do I really have to tell you? I go, that meant like you're not going to get as many spots.
Right.
Any spots. And then she started trying to convince me. She said, listen, Mitzi must have seen something in you. This is a character that's going to be big. You know, Mitzi helped Roseanne shop for her clothes. You know, Dice
Corey was drinking all the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Dice found his character here. She's seeing something big in you. I was like, all right. And then I hung up and I was like, then I'm trying to look for negotiation. So I call her up. I go, Corey, because I was doing sketch comedy at the time at another place called the Acme Theater.
Oh, yeah.
And
on
Eddie
was that La Brea?
La Brea and Beverly. And Eddie Murphy used to do on Saturday Night Live Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood, which was a playoff of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So I thought, you know, one of the sketch ideas I had was like Mr. Raheem's Neighborhood, because this is like right when Islamophobia was starting.
Sure.
I was like, I'll play like, you know, make fun of it in a way. And so I told Corey, I said, Corey, what if I do like 12 minutes of my act and the last 3 minutes I become like Mr. Raheem or something? She's like, that's not a bad idea. Let's think about that. I was like, all right. And then I said, let me come in and talk to you. So I went in to talk to her. And as you remember, Corey was a big fan of like old movies, like from the 20s and the 30s.
Do I remember?
Yeah.
She dresses like that.
She dresses like that.
She's in that era.
She's in that era.
She was in that era in her 20s.
In her 20s, exactly.
Terrifying.
And so there was a famous actor named Rudolph Valentino, who I'm sure you know,
My sister dated a guy named Rudy Valentino.
Well, there you go.
Grew up in South Philly.
Yeah.
Always funny.
So he was famous back then, and he used to play the Sheik or the Sheikh. There was a movie where he was like this. He was this. This hero,
he had the, like black eyes, kind of like I feel like it was makeup, right?
Yeah,
because
I think Rudolph Valentino was probably like Mexican or something, but he was playing this Arab dude, and he had the eye thing, and then he had
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, and then he had like a white, almost like a white turban-y looking thing, and he would have like almost like horse riding boots, and he was like hero. So I was like, Corey, what if I
He rode a horse, right?
I think he did.
I
should go see it.
Yeah.
But I was like, Corey, what if I, rather than playing like a turbaned terrorist type, what if I play the root like a Rudy Valentino, like Rudolph Valentino, like a
hello girl.
Hello, yeah,
he was like a sex symbol.
Yeah, I go, what if I go the other way? And she's like, I love it. I'm going to tell Mitzi you're going to be the Rudolph Valentino. Let's go. And I walked out of her office. I'm like, what am I doing? I was like, I don't want to do this.
Like, what are you doing? She was wearing a tiara. Where the fuck am I?
Where am I? And so then I was like, okay, I got to get out of this. So then I was talking to my sister Miriam about ideas, like how do I get out of this? And the two things that came to mind, one of them was my father had moved back to Iran at that point.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, if the Ayatollahs in Iran get word that there's somebody making fun of them and my dad's back in Iran, he could be in trouble.
God forbid.
But even worse, I said, for you guys, I said there was this guy, this is actually true, there was this Iranian dude who was making fun of the Ayatollahs on Iranian television. He was a comedian who was doing it in Persian.
Sure.
For Persian TV.
I feel like that's such a big thing. Whatever your culture is, people make fun of it.
Yeah, but imagine like on Telemundo, if there was a comedian making fun of the president of Mexico, right?
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, and you and I don't know what that means, but the Mexicans are like, it's great.
Yeah.
So similarly, this guy was making fun of the Ayatollahs, the mullahs over there, and then he was at some rally here in LA, and some of the supporters showed up, and they threw a rock, and they hit him in the eye, and they blinded him in one eye. Yeah, so that's...
I do remember you telling this.
That was the story. So I call up Corey. I go, Corey, listen, I was working on the turban. I've been working on Rudolph Valentino. I got a lot of ideas.
I got the makeup on.
I got the I've been rehearsing. I'm ready to go.
I got my accent back.
But I got to tell you, there was this guy and this happened. And so I could do it. But if word got back to the...
God forbid.
God forbid. They might come after me. And worse yet, they might blow up the club. And she was like, let me call you back. And then I think she called Mitzi, and like 5 minutes later, she's like, talk to Mitzi. She said, wear something comfortable. You'll be fine. I got out of wearing the outfit. And the funny thing that I didn't talk.
Poor thing, you're right, like sweating, like, fuck, I don't.
Bro, have you know,
had you gotten a spot at that point, or you didn't?
No, I'd been
call
getting
in?
spots.
No, but you were getting.
No, they were giving me spots. They thought because I was being the good employee.
You kept pushing it.
I was being the good employee. I was like, I'm working on it, and they're like, oh great, this guy, he's totally listening to you.
Sure, you were stalling.
Imagine like if you have like a phone call, like you've decided to call someone to break up with them or divorce or whatever. It was a big call. So I remember going like, because then I'm thinking to myself, you got to be ready for it, because you're thinking, well, what if they don't bite? Yeah. What if I say this, that, the other, and they go, we're willing to risk it, wear the outfit. Now you're out of options unless if you come up with some other, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so it was a nervous call. It was like, oh, here we go, 1, 2, 3. Hey, Corey, listen, really excited. Things are looking good. But I just got some news, and that you got to sound like you're upset.
Right.
I got some news, and I don't know. I'm really upset about this, but this guy got blinded. So listen, I got the turban's right here. I'm about to put it on. But I'm just saying.
It's in the car.
It's in the car.
It's on its way.
They might blow up the club. Might. I mean, I think we should go for it, don't you? We should definitely go for
it. She had a show called Arabian Nights.
Yeah, she put that together.
She had It's Fun to Be a Jew, which is hilariously ironic. And what was the other one? Night of 1,000 Guidos.
Night of 1,000 Guidos.
Which this other comic, I can't think of his name, Jimmy something. He was like, she stole that from me. And I was like, did he pitch it? I don't know. I don't know if he was like maybe talking about doing it or whatever. Yeah. But we had to do so much detail for those shows. Well, especially the Night of 1,000 Guidos. We had to put the red and white, like tablecloths.
Oh,
if you go to an Italian restaurant and you see those red and white that.
She liked the themes.
We had a fucking tape. You know how hard that was?
Yeah.
Every table in the main room.
But you know what? God bless her, because in all honesty, like early on, I felt like, especially when you're starting out, I feel like I wasn't getting the love that I was hoping to get. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's because somebody might be looking at me going like, oh, this is a shtick. This guy's got a thing, the Arab thing, they don't take you seriously.
Sure.
And so for her to go, there's something different about you, let me put you up. It makes you feel like, oh, I'm in the game now. Like it really helped my confidence. And by the way, it's also being put into like basically the minor leagues where you're going to just be going at it.
And you guys came up with a big tour.
Yeah, well, the Arabian Nights turned into the Axis of Evil comedy tour, and it was me, Ahmed, Aaron Cater. It was originally with Sam Tripoli, but then we ended up on the special putting on Dino Bidala, who's Palestinian.
Okay.
Because Sam being half Armenian didn't quite fit the Middle Eastern thing. But it really was, and it is. It's a great place to grow. I mean,
she really thought that tour and that whole thing was going to bring peace to the Middle East, like in her heart. Seriously,
but I'll
really
be honest with you.
it.
She actually, so the way that all came about was in 2000. She was watching CNN, and there was an uprising with the Palestinians and the Israelis.
She was obsessed.
Yeah, and she's Jewish, right? And so she sees this, and she goes like, "Comedy's, we need healing." So that's when she said, I think there's going to be a need for a positive voice for Muslims in the near future. This is before September 11th.
Yeah.
And so she saw something happening. And at the time, I was the only Middle Eastern comedian here. And she'd seen Ahmed at some show in the main room, so she brought him in. Then I got a call from Duncan, who was then the booker, going, do you know any other Middle Eastern comics? And I was like, I saw a guy.
The Sheik. We called him the Sheik.
Who?
Duncan.
Oh, really? Why?
Because Corey left, Princess Corey, and then we were like, Duncan, you could be the Sheik.
That's hilarious.
So he was the Sheik.
So Duncan called and he goes, do you know what I mean? And I said, listen, I saw this guy at the Ha Ha who's half Palestinian. That was Aaron Cater.
Oh yeah.
I go, maybe him. So then he got an audition and he got in. And then Sam Tripoli at that time had auditioned for Mitzi but not gotten in because he was just doing him.
Yeah.
And I was friends with Sam, and his last name's Tripoli, and Tripoli is the capital of Libya.
Yeah.
So I called him up. I go, listen, do you have any Arab or any like Muslim? He goes, well, my mom's Armenian, so I'm half Armenian. I go, I think that'll work.
Yeah.
So I called up Duncan, who's friends with Sam. I go, Duncan, he's half Armenian, which isn't really Middle East, but yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's like, all right. And Sam became a regular because of that. Like,
yeah.
So she was looking to put the show together.
I thought it was different than Armenian. I thought we gave him or somebody told him to say a different place.
I think he said Syrian, but no,
something like that.
I vaguely remember it being the Armenian angle because I was like, good enough. It's like,
yeah,
because all you need, because we didn't have anybody. So the show had me, Ahmed, Aaron, who did have Middle Eastern backgrounds, Sam, who's half Armenian, that's not really Middle East, Anand Chulani, who's Indian.
Oh yeah, but he can only do 13 minutes tops. God love him.
And
Whatever
I don't know.
happened to him? You think?
I think he ended up writing for Tony Robbins or something.
Of course, he was that guy.
Yeah,
he was the feel-good guy.
Well, listen. I don't know where she found him, but he ended up on the show.
Well,
then there was
showcased. I watched him,
did
and
he
then she put
showcase?
him in the main room.
Okay,
and the light didn't come on. He goes, "Okay, bye."
Oh my God!
We're like, whoa, scrambling.
Hilarious.
Oh, he had like 12, 13 minutes.
She had Lemaire, I think, do like a belly dance or something. Of
course, Lemaire. But Lemaire did a lot of characters.
Yeah.
A lot of people pick on Lemaire and talk shit because they didn't know. Yeah. She did 1,000 characters. Okay. And that's why Mitzi loved her. It was part of the variety.
Well, whatever it was, the show was, because back then, now we have a lot of brown comedians, but back then, like brown from my part of the world, back then there was like 4 or 5 of us. So she put whoever she could on this show. And it was a crazy show. But again, she gave us something. And then more importantly for me, once I became a regular, and I'm sure you experienced this, which was the 12:30 spots that would become 1:30. You got to follow some like crazy heavy hitter that just did some dirty shit. And that's how you grow.
I noticed now after COVID, like my spots, like even if it's 11, right? 10:30 turns into 11:30, whatever, because we always get backed up. People drop in, whatever. And we always make room for that. So if it gets pushed back, the latest now, 11:45, maybe midnight. And it's only because of COVID. Then I was in New York and I started working like the Cellar and the Stand and all those places. And they're like, yeah, your spot's at 1:25, but it could be 2:15. And I'm like, this is great. Yeah. This is making me feel alive again. I hate this early shit. Yeah. So New York is still doing.
Well, New York, by the way, when you do New York at 1 or 1:30 or 2 in the morning, there's an audience out there.
It's packed.
Whereas here at 1:45, that's like the last act of the night.
Yeah.
Because they have to close at 2.
I think, well, we used to push it for sure.
Yeah.
A while ago, we used to push it. And even when Adam and Eric kind of turned this club around, and we were packed, people stayed till past 2. We just locked the front door. We could stay there. Yeah. We just couldn't let any more patrons in or serve alcohol. Everything had to be off the table. But you could stay there. Yeah. Because I remember a bunch of times performing with the front doors locked, and it's like, now you can't leave.
Exactly. Yeah, Goodfellas. Yeah.
Now you can't leave.
And it's a magical place, you know. I remember with the way we used to get bumped. I remember one night, it was a Friday night, and I think the lineup in the original room had like, I don't know, 10, 12 comedians. Okay. And I think 1 or 2 got up, and then I think Eddie Griffin came in.
I was going to say, you were here during the Paul Mooney, Eddie Griffin, Dice.
So in one night, it was Eddie I think did about a couple hours, Paul Mooney did a couple hours, and the rest of the acts all got bumped. Like, you know.
Yeah. You know Nancy Pimento?
I don't remember Nancy.
So I might even be saying her name wrong, but Nancy Pimentel, she wrote for Shameless. She's brilliant. She was on South Park. Very funny comic too, and she was working here, and she was like, she was part of this group we called the Fun Bunch. But and again, I was waiting tables, and it was just a group of people that I guess they were comedy buddies. Yeah. So we used to kind of like torment them, or Don Barris, whoever was hosting. Yeah. So Nancy was one of the first to be made a paid regular. Yeah. And she was so excited, you know what I mean? And she was the first female writer on South Park. Like, it was a big deal, you know? And so she had all these showcases trying to get, you know, move even further up, rather. Every time she had a fucking showcase, every single time here she had a showcase, Paul Mooney would come in and bump, and they allowed it.
That's crazy.
That's bad. Yeah. And she'd have, like, people to see her. Yeah. So it made her quit stand up.
Well, it was the whole thing of like the
I mean, she sold a movie and she's fine.
Well, it's the inmates running the asylum, because there should be some level of like, I'm sorry, Paul, like you got to wait. But there was a lot of like,
it's a little early. Let's let some comics go up.
Let some comics go up. You know, this person's got people here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a few times where I had a bunch of people in the audience and I got bumped, and I was like, well, you know. It's so annoying. The
only person that's ever had like a positive spin on it was Felipe Esparza. He was like, hey, I get to see Dice for free.
Oh, that's funny.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He goes, he did 2 hours. I was like, oh my God.
That's funny.
And Andrew will fight with me all the time. He's like, I never did that. He goes, I did that on the road. I go, okay. And then a girl that I waited tables with, we hang out in Vegas.
Yeah.
And so I brought her backstage after a show. And I go, Andrew, do you remember Tamara? And she's like, probably not, because he was too busy doing so much stage time.
Yeah.
She goes, you would stay up there forever. Like,
Yeah.
when you just,
Yeah.
you're not going to lose your job, so
Yeah.
you're going to fucking get it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
That's what she did. And Andrew just started laughing.
That's
he
hilarious.
was like, all right.
Yeah, I remember like
He definitely did.
of course, yeah. It was Dice, it was Mooney, it was Eddie Griffin.
Eddie would do like 3 hour, like it was crazy.
Eddie would do stuff where it was like he was done. It was
Right.
done, and then
It
he'd be
wasn't
ready
like
to go,
material.
and then he had a posse, he had like a group of friends, and they would be like, then they would start calling stuff out. They'd be
Yell
like,
out,
do
right.
Sammy, and then he'd start doing, and I'm like, do Sammy, he's done. Let him come off. We're waiting.
yeah.
The funniest was one time Eddie bumped, and then I think Sam Tripoli followed him next, and then Sam just used his whole 15 minutes ripping into Eddie. And he was like, I hope Eddie has a son who's a comedian, and I'm a superstar. I'm going to come in, I'm going to find his name, I'm going to bump him. He was just doing, it was very funny to the point where supposedly Eddie got pissed, and he was like in the back, and he's like chasing him
I'm going to
around.
guarantee Eddie's son was in the back.
Yeah, probably. What a crazy, but it's,
It was bizarro times. I could see it.
I love it. But that's how you grow. Like I've had now people like, young comics will be like, hey, can I come open for you at some big place? And I'm like, I go, that's not really learning. Like you don't learn if you perform in front of 1,000 people that are ready to go. They'll laugh for 5 minutes no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Learning is following one of these. One time Dice did something where he was like, he's doing his act. He's got like, there was like maybe already it was like a thin night. It was like maybe 20, 30 people in the audience. He's doing the act.
Most nights were thin then.
Most nights were thin then. And he's like, he was, like an hour in, and then suddenly there was feedback on the mic. And he looked at the mic, and he looked at the audience, and he just dropped the mic, and he walked off stage. And I was next, so I had to like walk up. I almost looked like I was like a tech guy. I walked up, and I was like, hey, keep it going for the
description. You're like this.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys.
Yeah. I mean, what a great place.
So Muslims are funny, huh?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
No.
Yeah. Well, I learned.
I mean, you're right. That is when you learn, but it's also nice to perform in front of a crowd that is receptive versus.
Well, no, but it's both. So now I've gotten pretty good at being in any environment, and before going up, especially if you're doing like a corporate or something, I'm looking around, I'm looking for the thing that's going to be my into the show. Meaning, like, I learned a lesson one time following Joey D.
Oh.
So Joey Diaz, I go, Uncle
Listen
Joey.
up, cocksucker.
And listen up, cocksuckers. I go, Joey, do you ever like have a set list? He goes, you know how it is, Maz Jobrani. I'm driving over here. I got my set list. You get up on stage, you got to start calling audibles. So it's like football, right? That's brilliant.
It's so Joey.
But he one time just murdered, like on I don't know, it was Friday, Saturday, what it was. It felt like somebody took a hand grenade and went like that. And so when he was done, everyone gets up to go pee, get a smoke, breathe.
Sure.
And I go up after him.
Call an ambulance. I mean, God.
And I go up and I don't acknowledge what just happened. I think I tried to get into my act, because even though there was was a lot going on. And it was really like maybe 7-8 minutes of me trying to get them, and then maybe the last few minutes were okay. And I got off stage and I learned my lesson, which was always acknowledge something that just happened.
The elephant in the room. That's gigantic.
And so after that, like at the time, early 2000s, there was a lot of like George Bush and war in Iraq, and I was doing like political jokes, but then I had to follow like, she'd have me up at 12:31. So one time I followed Dice, who had just done, 20 minutes of going, suck ass. So of course, hot soup.
What?
Yeah. So I went up on stage and the first,
semen.
yeah.
Anyway.
And the first like 2-3 minutes, I was just up on stage. I kept going, suck ass, hot soup or whatever. Yeah. And now they're laughing because they know I watched what they just watched. And then it was like the transition into, I was like, this is never, I go, that term's not going to leave my mind. And so it's about, you understand what I'm saying? You learn how to deal.
Yeah, I remember watching, and this is as a waitress, but these things stick in your head because Yeah, you're right. Dice would go up, these comic, Eddie, Paul, whatever. And whether they did longer short sets, they definitely fucking killed.
Yeah.
And so it was annoying. You're like, damn, and the comics would go up and either suffer or sail,
Yeah.
And I remember one time Dice did, maybe like 20 minutes. It wasn't a long set. I remember that.
Yeah.
And he just bam, bam, bam. It was one of those.
Yeah.
And he crushed.
Yeah.
And then Steve Pearl went on after him and he was like, let me do my impression of Dice's writers in a room.
Oh, that's funny.
Pussy, dick, pussy, cum. And it was like all these foul words and somebody went, vagina. He goes, what? Like it just,
That's hilarious.
it was so dumb.
Yeah.
And the audience went crazy.
Oh, it's funny.
And he just rode the wave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he reset it to him.
Yeah.
But it was such a pro comic thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, he fucking killed it.
That's it. I remember saying, because again, when you first become a regular here, if you're new, like if you're not someone who came from another city and you're already seasoned, you just go up there and do your act. I was coming from open mics. I was like 2 years in when I became a regular. So I'm up on stage doing these jokes that were doing great in bringer rooms, because in a bringer room, it's a bunch of open micers, and if you're
and they're just
and if
we're
you're one or
support.
two of the, like, everyone's bad, but I was one of the better of the bads.
got it.
Right? Then I come up here and I'm doing my same act, and now I don't have any friends in the audience. It's a paying audience. And I start realizing, oh, why aren't they laughing? And then I remember Vinny Favorito,
Yeah.
whose act was doing crowd work. He had the stock joke, but it was
Right.
all crowd.
Mechanical crowd work.
And I'm watching it. At first, I didn't realize. I thought he was just doing crowd work, and he was killing, because he was like, he did this one bit about, he'd be like, I'm Italian. We call Italians wops, and you call these guys spicks, and we call white people a cracker, and black people we call black people. And then he's like, until you're not around, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was like the audience loved this crowd work, and I'm watching it, and I thought it was actual crowd work, and I was like, oh, you interact with them. And then that helped me loosen up a little bit and try to do crowd work, which, by the way, at the beginning, you're not that good at it. And the moment that I always say was the moment when I really got relaxed was when one night, two nerdy dudes were in the corner. It was like a 145 spot. Two nerdy dudes in the corner with one really hot girl. And I went up and I started doing my set. And Freddie Soto was sitting in Mitzi's chair.
Okay.
And did my set, doing my set, and like a minute or two in, I'm like, what am I doing? I just turned to them, I go, I'm sorry, how did you two end up with her? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And then they started talking to me, I started talking to them, then we started having fun.
But it was more organic than the
It was
rehearsed.
very organic.
Yeah.
It was just me talking and then having fun, and then they were laughing, and then we had a fun 15 minutes together.
Yeah.
And I came off stage, and then Freddie was in the back. I sat next to him, and he goes, that was good. You're funny. You got the thing. I go, what do you mean? He goes, you're either funny or you're not. And
Right.
and I was like, oh, thanks. So he was very complimentary and supportive, and I was like, that was one of those moments where I was like, okay. It's acknowledge, because a lot of times people think like, oh, I have 15 minutes. I need to
This
get
is all I
15
have.
minutes of
And I wrote
material.
these jokes.
That's not what it is at all.
Yeah, you have to be thrown off your game. Like, I remember Vinny and I remember Lisa Lampanelli.
Yeah.
And I remember watching them and thinking, oh, this is great. Like the first. And then the second time I was like, oh, wow. And then the third time I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's because I'm watching it every
Yeah.
single night.
Yeah.
It didn't take away anything from that. They were still
Yeah.
crushing, whatever. But I immediately saw the one trick pony and was like, oh.
Well, that's why also, listen, I have like stock replies.
We all do.
But
Yeah.
when I have moments where the conversation goes somewhere I wasn't expecting.
I prefer it when it's more genuine.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Like once in a while, because the thing is, I compare it to surfing. Stand-up comedy is like surfing. Is like if you're on that wave, you're not thinking anymore. Sometimes you're thinking, how did I come up with that? I have no idea. But you just did because
have you done that where you stopped and you're like, that was good?
No, in my mind, there's been times where I've come up there. So you either do the ones where you do it and they laugh and they get it, or you do the ones where you do really good, something quick, and they don't laugh as much, and you go, you motherfuckers are not appreciating what I just did. Do you understand what I just did?
Do you understand what just happened here?
Yeah, this guy just said that, and I came back with, come on,
I've had people like after a show be like, I've never heard that riff before. And I'm like, from me or in life?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Because part of you, when you're on, organically, when you're on that stage, if it's somebody that just says something while, or sometimes the stock stuff comes out when you just want to shut somebody down.
Yeah.
And you're not in the mood, and you realize they're just an asshole, and they're not going to be fun and organic. So I prefer it when it's like that. But like this was something I had never said, and I remember the person saying that, and I was like, oh, should I keep it? Like,
yeah.
Now I got to listen back. What did I say?
Well,
I don't
a lot
remember.
of it is your attitude, right? It's like,
sure.
and it's not even like, it doesn't even have to be like the funniest thing. Like in my special, since I'm married to an Indian woman, I always ask the audience, I go, anybody here in a mixed relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I know I've had this before where there's been a version of this. There was an Iranian guy who was in a relationship with a Venezuelan girl. And I've had some version of this where I was like,
Pretty
did you guys, I said, would you guys meet at like a oil embargo meeting? Because Venezuela and Iran are enemies of America. So I was like, did you guys visit a thing? So that one was a little more stuck. But then there was this other guy who was in a relationship, and I go, he was a black guy with a white girl. I go, and I go, anybody mix a relationship? And the guy goes, yeah, we are. And I go, what's your mix? He goes, I'm black, she's white. And it was just funny because I was like, this guy, I go, what an idiot. I go, of course, you're black, you're white. Because I was thinking he was going to be like, I'm from this country, she's from that country.
Sure.
He just went black and white.
He just went basic.
Yeah, so the riff was a funny riff because it's me making fun of myself, going like, this guy's looking at me going like, hey, asshole, black, white. Like, what did you want? You know what I'm saying?
No, we want a little more detail.
Yeah.
What kind of black?
Yeah, exactly.
You could be Dominican, we don't know. It is amazing. So black and white is just, that's old hat.
Black and white.
We want to go a little deeper. I think I have the one stock, and I feel like I haven't said it in a while, but because I'd always remember, like, you see the most mixes of people if you're at the DMV. I'd be like, oh, did you guys meet at the DMV? And that was like my stock. When I first started, every once in a while I'll throw it in there just to make myself laugh, because I'm like, go way back, asshole.
Yeah.
Because you see all walks of life at the DMV, and you never know what it is.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I like to say it too, because I'm real asshole, yo.
No, it's just it's a beautiful place. Let's face it.
So,
it's
but let me ask you this: for your special, you did it in the main room.
Yeah.
And now it's out on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so, is it an hour or half hour?
It's an hour. A little over
nice.
an hour. Yeah.
Okay.
Hour and 6 minutes.
And is it about your family mostly? Your
well,
kids now?
So it does. Yeah, it does. So really, we start with. I'm proud of it. I think we did a good job. John over there was the producer. John Sosis. And,
he did mine too. So I'm excited.
Peter Shore and everybody, and it was great. It was like we picked a Saturday night in August. Did 2 shows. Got the whole
August,
thing.
Huh?
Oh God, I know. I'm sorry. Yeah. Somebody died that night, and no, it was such a great thing to do because we call them specials, right? And then I've done this is my 7th special.
Oh, you're kidding!
I've
That's
done a
incredible.
bunch. So I filmed it. I've filmed one. My Netflix special. I filmed it at the Kennedy Center. I filmed my the special before this. I did it in Dubai. I've done a special in Sweden. I've done specials all over. I did a special at the Wiltern. Yeah, all over the place.
Yeah, the Wiltern's okay. Sweden?
Yeah, Stockholm, Sweden.
Holy shit!
But the point is, I was like, what's special about the special? And I said, well, what about the club I got started in? So I tell the Mitzi story.
Yeah.
I tell the Mitzi story at the beginning, and then from there I go into like just coming out of COVID and going into life and all the family stuff, a little bit of political stuff in the middle, and then more family stuff. I think the people mostly like the family stuff because they relate.
I also think the people are like just overdone with the political, and I don't mean the comics. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's everywhere for us. Or anybody.
Yeah.
The whole world. So I always feel like, because people go, oh, do you do politics? I'm like, 1, I'm an idiot. 2, I just feel like people want to come and think of something else.
Well, I was so like during the Trump years, I was so like the special.
But I think people get sucked in.
Yeah, well, the Netflix special was called Immigrant, and it was a time where there was a lot of attacks on immigrants, and I was like, I'm going to show a positive side of immigrants, and so I was very proud of that special, and I leaned in, and I probably lost some followers, and I probably found some followers because of it. Because ultimately, it's like you talk about whatever you are in the frame of mind to talk about, right? Like I can't like I don't know how you write, but I'm not today I need to write an hour and come up with some jokes. I'm like, oh, what's been going on in my life? Let me talk about it. So most recently, I've been trying to work on a whole bit about how every time I travel outside of the U.S., I feel stupid because I went to school in public schools here, and we really just don't learn about the rest of the world.
No.
So like I was doing a bit about, I was in Colombia with the family, and I was doing a bit about, I was like, everywhere I went, I was like, I wonder if Pablo Escobar was ever here, and like asking the tour guide, was Pablo Escobar ever? And
is this the roof?
Yeah, and the tour guide being like, sir, our history is more than just Pablo Escobar. And me going like, you're right. And me going like, Shakira, right? Shakira, was she ever around here? And the guy's like, sir, what are you, American? But I feel like because I go to you know how the first joke came about.
What else is there? I'm kidding.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I don't know, but the reason the joke first came about was because I was actually in the Middle East doing shows, and I was trying to book a flight from Qatar to Bahrain. They are side by side. It's like going from like San Diego to Los Angeles.
Okay.
It's a half an hour flight. I couldn't get a direct flight, and I'm going, why are there no direct flights from one country to the next? It's right there. So when I finally
that same distance? No.
It's about the same distance.
Wow.
And then I go, and then nobody gave me an answer. No one had an answer. Like
it's none of your business.
First of all, my team, my manager, and the whole team, the promoter, nobody was saying anything. I was like. Under normal circumstances, somebody would know about this, but nobody knew about this until I was there. And they were like, oh, we just don't get along with each other. So if you want to go from this country to that country, like we have some sort of like, embargo or something. So if you want to go from Qatar to Bahrain, which is a half-hour flight, you actually have to pass Bahrain, go to Kuwait, which is like an extra hour or two that way, then turn around and come back. So I was doing in the joke. I go. Yeah, I was in Qatar. I was trying to go to Bahrain. I was like, why can't? I was like, I'm trying to book a flight. Why can't I? My friend.
You can't drive.
I know they wouldn't let you. Yeah. And I have the guy going like, my friend, you did not know we are at war. I go, we live in America. We didn't know you exist.
100%.
What's
By the way, I'm Qatar.
Exactly.
The other one, I don't know where.
Yeah, that's my point. We don't know these things.
Yeah.
So I just felt dumb, and so again, I'm trying to work on a bit based on these experiences I've been having, as opposed to waking up and going, I'm going to write these jokes.
Sure, because to me, I think the more personal to yourself, the more to the chest, is less likely to run into, oh, this person has the same exact bit.
Absolutely.
Or same exact premise.
Yeah.
And because there are only so many premises. I was joking around with Dom Irera the other day, and he goes, "Oh, I have a bit like that." I'm like, "Of course you do. Yeah. You're the first comic. Like, I don't understand." But yes, there's so many premises, and it comes. And we grew up in the same area.
Yeah, and you exactly. Like the other one, that is like a tiny joke. And by the way, you'll have jokes. You go, "This is never going to be something," but then maybe it grows into something. Mm-hmm. I ran into some guy at the airport. And he recognized me. Hey, Maz. Hey, how are you? You doing shows in Houston? Yeah. Oh, I'm going to LA. Okay, next time. And then saying bye, he goes, be careful. And so the joke I was in, I was like, look, I'm 51 now. I go, can you guys, just young people, just say goodbye. Don't say be careful. I was like, well, you know something I don't know? Like, why be careful? What's going on?
What's going on in Houston?
Yeah. So, that's how I write. You said.
Yeah, I think so too. I think like keeping it there. But then like I did this show on Showtime. It was not my first stand-up, but it was like one of the first stand-ups that I got to put on TV, whatever. And it was just like, it was called The Blue Show, and Dice was hosting. And at the time, my sister had gotten in trouble for sending peanut butter with her daughter to school.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean trouble.
Oh, God.
And I never heard it. I don't have kids.
Sure.
So I thought it was the funniest fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're kidding, And so I did this whole stupid thing. I don't even remember, something along the lines of our next war, we're just going to have Mr. Peanut, He's just, whatever. Didn't even put it out there. The comments. You stole this from Carlin. You stole this from Louis C.K.
Oh my God.
I had to look it up to find out what. Yeah. I've seen Louis a million times. Yeah. I've never heard him talk about that.
It's a collective consciousness.
And I mean, in 15-minute increments. So I don't remember him
Listen, we all kind like you said that when you know
and
that
Carlin.
it comes, when you know it comes from you, and you're not. Listen, if all your bits were that, then you end up becoming like Carlos,
but
where
it
people
made
are
me
like,
feel
oh,
guilty, and I was like, oh my god, this. And then I thought, well, it's my fault because I don't have kids, and he has because I just kept thinking of Louis. I don't. To be honest, Carlin stuff, I remember a lot of his political stuff. I don't remember. I also, when he was here, and he did a week here, I remember Mitzi being excited. Yeah. And she came in the first night, and he did 20 minutes on farting. She was like, Jesus Christ. And she never came back.
Hilarious.
But it was... I remember the farting jokes.
Yeah.
Like, that was it.
Yeah.
But I don't remember anything else.
Listen, online people are crazy. I did a joke, one of my earliest jokes ever. I go, somehow I talked about how Iranians don't say we're Iranian, we say we're Persian, like the cat, meow, it sounds friendlier, it sounds nicer. Americans don't even know what it is. They think you're Parisian. They leave you alone. And then
He's a rug.
He's a rug. And then I said, the difference between Iranians and Arabs talk very fast. They talk like they're on cocaine. And Iranians, they talk very slowly. We
very
talk
slow.
Like we've shot heroin, we're falling asleep.
Jeez.
And it's a whole bit, right? This is in 2000, this is before 2007, because I put it out on 2007 at the Axis of Evil special.
Okay.
Now, in, 2012, 2013, 2014, whenever it was, Joe Coy, who's a friend of mine, has a bit about Asians and their accents. And I don't think he got it from me. I think he just came up with it because, like I said, collective consciousness.
Sure. And it's also an idea, like he's Asian.
Yeah. And so he was like, Koreans talk faster and these people talk slower, whatever it is. Great. So his was on Netflix and it had a ton of views. Now, I didn't even think twice about this. Like, I was like, as I'm trying to get active on TikTok, I was like, oh, maybe I'll put some old stuff, Throwback Thursday.
Sure.
So I put up the clip from Throwback Thursday 2007. I didn't say in the thing, this is from 2007, because I didn't think I had to. Just put it up. The people underneath, you stole this from Joe Coy, you son of a bitch. I'm like, what? I go, no, it's from 2007. And maybe like one person in the middle of the comments was like, I think this is from earlier. And I was like,
and there's no way you can win the fight.
No way.
And I don't even know how to edit on TikTok to go back and say this is a throwback. This is 2000. I've tried. I'm like, oh no, it's out there now.
It's
I'm just
out
gonna
there.
have to delete it.
And you just listen. You realize we all are the heroes of our own movies, because every morning you wake up, you think about you, your career, your thing. It's all about you. Right?
I really am. I mean, because I have no responsibility whatsoever except to myself.
But even when you do, like when I wake up, like if like my kids, want me to do something that I don't want to do, I'm just
I don't
like,
even have a dog or goldfish, nothing.
Yeah. But you're the lead, so you know what's going on in your life, and so we assume that others know as well, especially when you're on social media. If you're following me. Like sometimes when people like comment negative comments, I'm like, are you following me? And you like, why are you following me?
Right.
Like if I'm causing you this much angst, why are you even following me?
Somebody, so we started putting those comics. They're like, you have to put the clips, right? And it's like I feel my soul leaving my body, and I'm putting them out, right? Yeah. And I just hate it. And then people are like, why can't, if you're gonna be here, why can't you just go live? Go fuck yourself. Come to the show, you dick. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I'm like, whatever. So I'm putting these clips out, and then this person, I don't remember who it was. I don't remember if it was a guy or girl. I don't remember. I just know they put a comment saying, "Oh, crowd work. It's so easy. None of the goats do it. It's a bullshit thing. Whatever." Yeah. And then I wrote, "Thanks for the feedback," or "Thanks, man," or something like that, because I'm just like, I don't know. I don't care. Yeah. And then another person went doubled down with him or that person saying, oh yeah, it's just awful. It's ridiculous. They're all doing it because they don't have material. And I'm like, go, you motherfucker. Yeah.
It gets you. Yeah.
Dare
sucks you in.
And then I was like, I'm not. And then a couple of my fans started attacking them. Yeah. So then I put a bit out. Yeah. Not thinking about them, just I had a bit that it could throw out there. Yeah. And because I don't have a lot of stuff out. Yeah. So I just shot a special and I'm trying to get, so I'm like, And so I go to put it, and this guy goes, man, this is great. I'm sorry about the last time. So I guess it was the same person.
Oh, it's the same guy. Oh, that's so funny. I thought you said you said someone's going to come in and be like, this girl's all material. You need more crowd work.
No. He literally was like, last time I was just trying to be funny, and your fans attacked me.
My wife sent me something today. This really cool image in Japan. They have this 3D billboard of Nike, and it's like the shoe comes out at you, and then this box comes out.
Kicks you in your teeth.
It's weird, but it's very Japanese, and it's dope. And she sent it to me, and I was like, whoa. And then she goes, did you read the comments? And I go, no. And then I started reading the comments, and people are like, oh, well, they should talk about their child labor. And then what about they sponsored a transgender woman? I'm like, people have way too much time on their hands. They get so angry.
They sponsored a few transgender women. Everybody's upset about Dylan.
Yeah, it's like, just move on with your life.
Dylan's my friend, so
how is this bother? Are you friends with Dylan? Mm-hmm. How is this bothering you?
People
just move
on.
Just move on. I had one guy who was funny. I used to do a joke about. I think it was I used to do a joke about. So this happened. I was in Times Square one night working the Carolines. And I had Steve White. No, Steve White. Steve, oh my God, I forget his name right now.
Steve White?
No, not Steve White.
Yeah. Steve Byrne?
No, it wasn't Steve Byrne. Black comedian, but it wasn't Steve White. It was another. Anyway, whatever his name was, he did a guest spot at the Caroline show, and he left. And then 15 minutes later, he came back. And I go, what happened? He goes, they won't let me go past. He goes, Times Square is closed. There was some kind of bomb threat.
Oh,
shit. I go, what? And it turned out there was a guy who was this Pakistani guy who had tried to blow up a car bomb in the middle of Times Square that night.
Oh, shit.
And so the joke I used to do was something along the, I haven't done it in a while, but it was some joke about I said, because what happened was then the Pakistani Taliban came out and took credit for that failed car bombing. And then I go, why would you take credit for a failed car bombing? Why would you call a press conference and be like, we just want to say we tried. And furthermore, win some, lose some, and whatever it was, and I did the joke, and so I put that out as again one of those throwback Thursdays, and some guy I guess must have been Pakistani, maybe out of Pakistan, I don't know where he's from. This guy on Twitter, I didn't even see it. On Twitter, he's like, this isn't a Pakistani accent, this is an Indian accent, you piece of shit Iranian. I was like, and then I didn't even respond. He responded to his own response and was like, I'm going to, your women are whores and Pakistani men in London are always banging Iranian women. And then he responds again himself. He's like, you piece of shit. You're not. This guy was having a conversation with himself.
He's shadowboxing on Twitter.
I'm like, this guy's really upset about my accent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, just... don't you have a life or something to deal with? But it was just the funniest thing. Just I saved those as images. I've actually
the trolls are great sometimes. It really is.
But he wasn't even. I don't think he was a troll. He was just. Fan. He wasn't a fan. He was just a nut job who'd lost. He was upset at me.
Okay.
I did it on one of Sean Polofsky's.
What's the difference between a nut job and a troll?
Well, a troll is somebody who's really just trying to get you in. So they'll say something to you like, crowd work. My grandmother could do this.
Right.
Hoping that you'll engage.
Okay.
Right. But this guy was the fact that he kept,
going after his own comments.
On top of it, he was clearly upset.
Yeah, he's just tripling down.
You piece of shit.
It really hurt his feelings. Is it because we're comics that I don't know if I feel like I've lost my sense to get offended?
No, it's not that.
Or just that we hear everything.
I think we've become a little more trained about.
We've gone nose blind.
Because I still will get upset at negative comments.
Oh, I don't. I love them.
Well, I remember listening to David Letterman one time, and he goes, "Oh, the news is they got free Wi-Fi now in Central Park, which is great because during my lunch break, I take my computer out there and I read all my hate mail." And then I remember, I think it was Lady Gaga was on there talking about the hate she gets sometimes. And I was like, wow, she's got 100 million followers. I go, I can't even imagine.
Oh, she probably gets it. Yeah.
Right?
Every other comment is, you think you're Madonna, don't you?
Boom. Right. And so you go, okay, you know what? If they're getting it. My daughter on this special, she was looking, there was somebody got upset because I talked about how I got vaccinated, and they were upset. They were an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
So again, they started making comments about the vaccine,
Sure.
and they're going nuts. And my daughter was like, some guy's losing his mind on your thing. And I said, baby, you know what? That's a good thing. You know why? Once you start getting people that are
negative,
that means you're your video has gone beyond your fan base. Now you're being seen by more people.
True.
And also that means you're not a jukebox that's only doing
things that people like. You have to. I did a abortion bit, another bit that I was able to put out. It was from the Comedy Store documentary that I was like, okay, it's already been on television, so I could put this. So I just like a throwback thing, put that out. And oh my God, I didn't know you were there. This guy who used to send me direct messages, slide into my DMs, if you will, and ask me out to dinner all the time. I'll show you this, I'll be this kind of guy. And it just makes me giggle. I never respond, whatever. Sometimes I didn't even see them, and there would be like 4 of them. And I'm like, oh shit, and whatever. So I never respond, never anything. Anytime I'm in New York, he's like, oh, are you gonna, I'm thinking of coming by.
Stalker.
A little bit.
Have you thought about that?
I put the abortion bit up. He was the first one. Oh, I didn't know you were like this. Unfollow.
Oh God.
And I was like, thank
God.
goodness.
Is that what it takes to get rid of a stalker?
Yeah, bye, bitch.
Oh my God.
It just made me laugh, and I was like, oh, no more creepy messages from this nut.
They're in a crazy world, It's like and then that's the thing when you have a fan.
Some I was debating with, like, because they were just misunderstanding, and I was like, wait, just this little thing. And then he was like, your point is mute. And I was like, I'm just going to stop, because I realized this guy's never going to hear
I've taken the time to
saying.
Respond once in a while if it's like an actual message, and like they'll be like, and they're nice about it. If they go, I thought
he said
this and
something
this.
nasty at the end. He said, you're stupid, blah, 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 whatever. Like, so I was like, okay, but this is all I'm saying. And I didn't say anything nasty, but I wrote love, stupid, whatever.
Yeah.
Or from stupid, whatever he called me. And then that's when he came back, and I was like, okay, he's not hearing even the tiniest.
Yeah.
He's missing this one giant point.
Yeah.
I'm not saying one
But
way or the other.
But what's interesting is if we could get out of this like phone and this world that exists there, and you saw these people in real life, probably 95% of them
be able to have a
no I was going to say like 95% of them you'd be like, this guy's like a weirdo. Like there's a lot of weirdos that are engaging you on there, know. And by the way, they all have their own baggage, whatever that baggage is. So like one of the best features on Twitter was the mute button, because you're like, oh, this guy's talking shit about me, but I'm just going to mute him.
Oh, you could do that?
Well, so that they don't get the satisfaction that you're blocking them, and they take a screenshot and go, look who just blocked me. You just mute them, and you don't see their shit. And you just like, and then once in a while, like I'll post something, and then I'll see like, it'll say, muted comment, click here to watch. And I'm like, I don't want to see it. I don't need to see what this, because the guy's got his own baggage.
Yeah.
You know who I am. You don't know what my thoughts are. You don't know me. You're basing it off of one tweet. Do you know my history?
Yeah,
over one bit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I stand for? Do you know, like, by the way, if you don't like it, I love Galern one time. He was talking about like people. He would tell me that like when we played soccer with these guys, and he's like they'd come up to him and be like, "Hey, Jason, you should do this joke," and he'd be like, "Bro, that's great. You should do an open mic and do it." Like he's basically saying, "You go do it. Why are you telling me to do your joke?" So if you're really that upset about me and you're tweeting about my abortion bit, go write your own blog about abortion.
He read, Jason Galern read, I have a video of him. It's like a 2-3 minute video. It's one of my favorites. And he read this note this lady wrote about what an evil, horrible person he is. And it was about a bit he did about conjoined twins. Oh my God. And then she goes, it literally says, I have cousins that are conjoined twins, and I know they wouldn't have anything to do with you.
Hilarious. Like, what?
He goes, whoa, she just gave me a new tag. But it's just like, obviously it's such a bizarro bit.
Yeah.
And then the person took it to heart and then went and either yelped or something. It was long. Whatever she wrote was long. So I was like, who has that time?
The other thing to think about is, I guess what we say, maybe we devalue a little bit like our voices, simply because I think comedians are mini cult leaders.
Ooh.
Like your fan base,
it's
not
a
all.
Slight cult.
Right, not all, but some of your fans really look up to you. Like
people say that about Rogan.
Yeah. But all of us. Like I was at a show I did a show in Orlando, And this couple had come, and I think, again, me being left-leaning with my politics, and they were left-leaning, and they had a friend of theirs that was right-leaning. And it was funny because in front of their friend, they were like, we love you and this and that. He's a little bit, whatever the cause was. They're like, tell him what your thoughts are. Like, they wanted me to convince their right-leaning friend to be left-leaning.
I don't know my right from my left, so I stay out of it.
But it was funny because I was like, in my mind, I'm going like, oh, these people think that I'm like some kind of, political science PhD. I actually did start a PhD in political science, but I dropped out. I didn't get past the first year. But the point is, regardless of that, I'm not like Elizabeth Warren or Bernie. I'm not going to sit here and be like, the statistics show that 40% of the thing. I don't know that shit. So I got my opinion on stage, But some people look at you and they're like probably going, I love everything you say. And then that one moment when you go, hey, here's an abortion bit. They're like, how dare you?
What kind of a person? What kind of an animal? I always tell they wouldn't want me to be a parent. If I was a parent, I would be
You'd be a great parent.
Of the kids that were overturning the cars before the Eagles Super Bowl game.
You'd be the best. I think you'd be the best mom.
No,
I really
do. I can do good in increments.
But they're gonna. But your kids would love you. They'd be loving you.
I'm the fun aunt.
Yeah, no, you are the fun aunt until you have a kid, and then you realize like you're going to be a great mom, and you'll be disciplining them because you treat your kids a lot differently than you do your nieces and nephews. That's just nature.
I don't know, but I know this. I know that I was in Philly just last weekend, and I let my hair dry, and it was nice and curly and crazy. Me and my little sister were having a competition to see whose is bigger, and so my niece, who has a baby, so my great nephew, is that what you call it?
Whatever they are.
Yeah. And so
I'm not a political scientist.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I'm making him laugh, and my older nephew is standing next to me, and I'm like killing, right? And I go, I'm crushing right now. And my hair, I look like a Muppet. That's why I'm crushing.
Yeah.
The kid's like, what is that?
That's fantastic.
Did that come out of the TV?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
They love you.
And the kid's hysterical laughing. Yeah.
Yeah, they
and I'm
love
like,
you.
I'm killing right now.
Yeah.
And my nephew's like, he's a baby.
Yeah.
Like, you're an idiot.
Yeah, let's see you do it, nephew.
Yeah, go ahead, jump in here.
Yeah.
See if you can do it.
Yeah. No.
But so your kids are grown now, yeah?
14 and 12. It's crazy.
I can't even talk to you.
My son's got he's got that voice. They're in all over my act.
Yeah.
He did a thing where he was like, he's such a good kid. He's like, can I talk to you? And I was like, sure. We were like walking. We were all somewhere. I don't know where we were, but he kind of gave me this thing. And I was like, is he going to tell me he did drugs? Is he going to tell me he's gay? What's going on?
All of it.
I'm with you. I'm just talk to me, buddy. What's going on? He goes, I'd like to stop calling you daddy. I'm going to start calling you dad. And I was like, it broke my heart. I was like, you motherfucker. Because like being daddy is like, you're my baby, you're my daddy.
Yeah. He had a conversation about that. I like that.
He's such a good kid.
That is nice.
And he's like, my friends.
Being sweet.
He's being sweet. He's like, my friends, they're all calling their dad's dad, and and I was like, buddy, whatever you want. But inside I was crying. I was like, I want to be daddy. I don't want to be dad. But now, he's
That's sweet.
Yeah.
At 14, I was still like, where is daddy? Is he not coming back? Or?
Mommy. Where's
what happened to daddy?
Yeah.
And that's where I got daddy issues.
That's funny.
No, that's amazing.
Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yes. Yes, he was.
Yeah, no, he gave me. He rolled. He gave me the talk, and
that's so sweet.
Yeah, they're sweet. They're good kids.
See, today a 14-year-old, like I was. Again, with this podcast, the What's Up Doc, we were talking about how kids grow up.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
A 14-year-old now is the equivalent of like maybe a 12-year-old. Maybe they're a little bit overcoddled.
Yeah.
When I was 14 going on 28.
Yeah.
I was already clubbing.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Listen,
it was just a different
Well, there's
mentality.
Aspects of that. There for sure. There's.
I don't know how you grew up.
No, we were independent. We'd just be out and about and come back, and that was absolutely. No,
yeah.
I was 14. I was in a club at 14.
100%. My sister was 10 years older, so I would use her ID. I don't know if
alcohol.
it's a compliment to me or her.
Yeah,
but.
We had the IDs. We had all that stuff. But in terms of like some of the ability of doing the stuff that they're doing, like my daughter, she's 12 and she'll edit the shit out of a video and put the music together.
Sure, that's different.
It's a whole other like
computer world.
They could be making a living at 12.
Yeah.
You know, we had to go, mow a lawn and make $5.
Yeah.
They could be influencing and making,
That's
hundreds
true,
of thousands
too,
of dollars. But as a parent, what you learn is there's brain development. And so that I've become very patient with, or tried to be very understanding and delicate with the way I deal with them. Because like our parents and any regular adult would just be like, shut up, go to your room, blah, 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 just scream, right?
Yeah.
But then when you realize,
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, they're not doing it on purpose. Like I remember when my son was like, I think around 12 or so, suddenly the room was messier and things were being left around. And as an adult, you walk in, you're like, can't you just pick that up and put it right there?
Yeah.
And the truth is, they're not meaning to. Their brain isn't working that way. And I read this article of some lady who wrote an article about her kid getting into that age, and she said, I realized he's not doing it out of like trying to be despite me. It's just that his brain, because what happens is in that teenage years, so their brains are developing a lot in those first couple years. Mm-hmm. Then once they hit like 5 to about 12, they're kind of the same. They're like a kid, they're babied, like they're like 5, 6, 7, 8. They're still kids. They still need your guidance. But once they hit 12 and on, like the puberty hits, and
things
the brain
are changing.
Yeah, and like the amygdala, which is like the fear part, hasn't developed. And that actually, once you realize that your brain doesn't fully develop to like 25 or 26,
100%.
Then you realize, oh, that's why we were doing that stupid shit. We're in a car in my high school with my friend, a Volkswagen Fox, which is like as sturdy as this table.
Right.
There's 3 of us in the back. He's driving, another guy in the front. We're all probably drunk, and we're going through the windy roads of Marin, and we're like music blasting, and every turn we're like, we're having a great time, really risking our lives. It's a miracle we're still alive.
Doing dangerous stuff carefully.
Dangerous stuff, not thinking about it,
Who's that? Jordan, who's that guy from, I think he's Canadian, Jordan. He's always on Rogan.
Michael Jordan?
No. I know Mike. Yeah, thank you, Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
He says, I think he was on Theo Vaughn's podcast, and he's like, you got to let your kids do dangerous things carefully. Like, they have to learn. Yeah. And it's true, like, because you think about it, you're like, oh my God, we did that.
Yeah.
God forbid, a million times over. But it's true. Like, you have to learn, do things, and then you learn from those things. And that's how the development, somehow you're like, whoa, don't touch that.
Yeah,
it's
you
hot.
Can't. Yeah, you
don't
can't. Well, it's funny.
And then it gets higher and higher.
Yeah, well,
although boys never learn to pick up after themselves.
Well, listen, a day comes when like I kind of have like piles, but they're not. It's relatively clean. It's not.
Don't get me started.
But like no, when I wake, like one of the things I got the kids to do is I go make your bed every morning. So I make my bed every morning. Every morning, and I go, that will help you with feng shui, your day, your life, everything.
It's the only thing you can control. Like little things you can control help. So if you can make your bed and say, look how neat that is.
It's a step. But the thing about like my wife, like she was very frustrated with my son's like clothing choices, because my wife is very particular about how you dress.
Really?
What you wear, and I told her at a certain point, I go, listen, just let him,
let him figure it out.
Let him go to school and let something happen. Like if early on when he was first starting to like smell, so you needed to wear deodorant.
Sure.
And my wife would always be like, did you put on any deodorant? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. And I go, babe, just let him go. And when his friends like go, oh, you stink like
smelly
whatever.
Kid. Yeah.
It'll be on all the time.
Yeah. Or a girl. Why do you smell like that?
Yeah.
And then a boy. Or a boy, he's attracted, whatever.
It is.
Whatever
someone's going to tell him you stink, and that'll be the learning. Yeah, but that'll be the learning. So you're right. You have to experience. But again, you also got to have, as an adult, you got to have patience with the fact that their brains aren't working like our brains.
That's why I don't have children, because I don't have patience with the development of a brain, and mine isn't developed yet.
You're still going through it.
So, yeah. All right. So now your special's out on YouTube.
Yeah.
And where can people find you?
So everything's at Maz Jobrani, M-A-Z.
Maz Jobrani.
Oh, Jobrani.
You have Jeff Scott doing that?
Yeah, Jeff Scott. Yeah, I got it on. Yeah, him doing he would play the piano.
Maz Jobrani. I love it.
He's great. Yeah. Well, the Maz Jobrani song started with Joey Diaz. I'd be on stage, and he'd be back in the back of the OR going, Maz Jobrani, Jobrani, and then I just start dancing when he'd do it. Oh, and then it became a thing. But yeah, I'm at Maz Jobrani across the board. The special is called The Birds and the Bees. It's on YouTube.
The Birds and the Bees.
So people hopefully check it out.
But is it a documentary as well, or just a?
No, it's just stand up. The Birds and the Bees is me telling the story of how I did the Birds and the Bees talk with my kids when they weren't ready. Yeah, I stumbled into it. It's a whole thing.
Well, let them watch.
Yeah, watch. I think people enjoy it.
Yeah, because I think people enjoy it. Maz, you're very funny, and thank you so much for doing this. Yeah. And I can't believe you want a guest host. So if I do need a guest host and you're in town, I can ask you.
Text me. I'm coming. Let's do this. Yes. I'm loving it.
We got more guest hosts, and like sometimes if Rick's here, whatever. Like sometimes we just like a lot of people. Sometimes even if it's just the two of us, we can have fun.
I'm ready to talk. I love talking. It's great.
I love it. Yeah. I hate talking. No, I'm kidding. I love talking.
Well, it's funny. I'm not a super talkative
I'm not a talker
in public, but when I got a microphone in front of me, I could talk.
You get it going.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Please check out his special, Birds and the Bees. Absolutely hilarious. Maz Jobrani, thank you so much.
When is your special dropping?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
I haven't even been able to watch it yet.
Watch all the Comedy Store specials. They're great.
Well, he's laughing because I hate watching myself. Do you hate watching yourself?
I've gotten good at going. I've learned
bad.
Yeah, I've learned certain things. Like for example, when I first started doing any kind of stand up, there was a TV. The first one I did was Premium Blend on Comedy Central. Mm-hmm. They just give it to an editor, and that guy will take your act and
butcher it.
That
happened to me the first time.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of cutaways to the crowd. You realize you don't need that many crowd shots. You really just use the crowd shot when you're transitioning or something. But like my brother-in-law,
transition.
Well, yeah, my brother-in-law, who's a fan of comedy, he brought that to my attention on a Bill Burr special. He goes, I like the fact that it pretty much stays on him with the curtain behind him the whole time, so you feel like you're watching it from the theater. And I go, oh, that's a good point. Then I started watching other specials, and I realized a lot of them were doing close-up, medium shot, once in a while to the crowd, but then keep me here. So I've learned some things from that. So when I'm watching a special, I'm not watching it going, cringe. I'm going, okay, this shot it should be from this angle. We need to, I'm going more technically. And then the hard part is when you realize, it's either a little too long or there's certain jokes that you're like, this is just outdated now. And you still find it's funny, but you're like, I got to kill this baby because it's not, by the time I release this, it's not gonna be relevant anymore. Mm-hmm. Or for whatever reason you don't want that joke in. That becomes a little bit of the difficulty, depending on how long you're trying to get as well. Are you trying to do an hour, or what was it? What did you shoot?
I shot 30, but I think I did technically like 45.
Yeah, you did like 45, 50, and we'll get it down to 30. But to your point on the topical stuff, it's not bad to just listen to let it sit for a little bit, because then when you finally go through it, you kind of get to the point of, like, because you were traveling right after yours, so it was like a minute before we all got to like a first cut.
Yeah,
and same thing's happening with you, and same thing's happening with Fitz. You watch it back now, and you're like, oh, we could cut this bit because it's only been a month, and it's already feeling like it's already like a dead topic.
Yeah. But you really got to look at it technically and go, these are the angles I want on this. Because ultimately it's like, if you've done the crowd work stuff that you've put out, a lot of times those crowd work things are from like a comedy club that has a camera in the back and it's just a single shot.
Totally.
But now that you've got this like 4 or 5 camera shoot, there's going to be, John's going to send it to you with certain angles. You could be like, I really like this other angle, or there's a...
I like my ass in that shot.
I like my ass in that shot. Or like they should see... Whatever. It's just, if you go at it technically and not worry as much about cringing about, Well,
I'm an asshole, so I'm working on it though. Right, John?
I mean,
he hates me.
No, I love it. Have you ever seen him do an ad read?
An ad read?
You know what? No one likes you.
It's my favorite thing.
What's your ad read? Are you?
I'm not good. Like, you know how people pick on Bill Burr for his ad reads?
No.
Oh, you don't know about this?
No.
Well, him and I have that in common, except for I'm 1,000 times worse.
What is it? Is he like not into it, or the product, or something?
It's just,
there are people that are
we're
too
dyslexic,
cool for
maybe.
It.
No, it just your brain goes too fast, so you skip a line or you skip over, or I ad lib, And then I get confused, and I've always been one of those kids that, like, when the teacher says read out loud, I'm just like, I'd rather kill you. I'd rather do jail time.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'll just snap your neck and school's out.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was that.
Yeah,
so I think all that fear, words definitely mix up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But
And then
there's also, you and Rick specifically, like if you compare.
I cannot stand doing it.
Yeah, there's also like a cool table thing where it's like, we don't want to sell out and do ads. So like they can't get into it.
The nerves maybe,
Yeah, so it comes off as just reading, where like if you look at Justin Martindale, he can sell you, he can sell you COVID.
But when he's doing it, you can see his soul like leaving his body.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, Justin.
But he knows how to sell. They sent us this fucking good soap. I think we had to sponsor them for a little bit. But it's just.
I don't remember that. Let's get it on.
It's soap that's called like Fuckboy. He sold the shit out. He was like, I will sell this to anybody. And
if I had Fuckboy, I would remember that. I'd have the soap in me now.
Well, like, it's great when you got a product that you actually go, oh, I'm going to use this. Like I had when I had my podcast, they were sending me the what was the one, the like prep meal? You know, the prep
Hello
meal?
Fresh.
Yeah. Hello Fresh. They sent that to us, and I'm not a cook.
See that's trauma. Hello Fresh.
Well, listen, I was telling my wife today. I go, I realized I don't have the patience to cook. But when they sent it to me, I got with my daughter. I go, let's try this, and we made these burgers. They were delicious.
See, that's
so the next time I did the read, I was like, guys, this is a real thing. I go, even me, I could do it. Like, this is great.
I did the same thing, and I was like, this is great. But then they had like copy as well, and that's where I would. And I would get nervous, like, oh, you're overselling, or you're this, or you're that. I don't know.
Just keep
Insecure.
it simple. Yeah.
But I did like the Hello Fresh stuff.
That was good stuff.
But we don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
Well, we get them whenever they're really pushing something. So we'll get like 2 or 3
It was
reads.
Christmas, right? I remember it was like, because it was different tags.
We'll have them again for Thanksgiving. We'll probably have them for 4th of July. Like when the big food holidays come, they reappear.
It's coming.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being
here.
Eleanor. You're awesome. And
love you.
Yeah, let's get upstairs and do some spots.
Tell some jokes.
I got
no spots tonight.
Oh, Maz.
I'm fine. I'm tired. I don't want to go.
We'll get you to bump. We'll bump somebody.
Let's bump somebody.
Thank you guys so much. Like, subscribe, all of the nonsense. Love ya. Guys, Comedy Store Podcast is back. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave us your negative and positive comments, mostly negative.